Now that we've done the site setup process and we've identified our local root folder, and you'll see over here now in the Files panel, the local root folder. If this isn't open, by the way, you can always go to Window, Files to open it. And if you're still finding your way around Dreamweaver, let me just reassure you, in the very next chapter, I'll spend some time customizing the interface and showing you where many different tools are. But I find it helpful to kind of dive in and create your first page and sort of see what's possible before we get bogged down in all the details of where all the features are. But for now, just to make sure that your screen looks mostly like mine, I'm using the Designer Layout option. Again, if you're on a PC, this will be in the top right-hand corner of your screen instead of over here on the left. And if you choose Designer, you should get a layout very similar to what I'm using in this lesson. So I have an Images folder inside my Silly Computer folder, and that's all I have on this website now. I guess it's time to start creating our first page. There are a number of ways to create a new page in Dreamweaver. If you have this Welcome screen open, you can simply click on the HTML icon there, and a new blank HTML file will automatically open. I'm going to close this and show you another way in case you've already closed this screen, and also because you'll get many more options if you choose File, New. Now you'll open the New Document window, and here you'll find many choices. In fact, it can be a little overwhelming at first, but if all you want is a new basic blank page, you want blank, HTML, none, and you're ready to create a blank page. Let me just show you very quickly a few of the other options. You can create a blank template. We'll use HTML templates later in this series, but this is where you would create templates if you were creating a dynamic site, like the ones I mentioned used on the Total Training site and many of the other more advanced sites on the internet. Once you've created templates for a site, they'll become available in this area, which enables you to create new pages from a template. So because there are no templates for this site, of course this is empty, but in the template chapter, you'll see how easy it is to create a new page based on a template once you've created it. Dreamweaver also has sample pages. This is where you'll find all the different frame set options, but you'll also find a number of pre-created style sheets here. And finally, there's an Other section, just for a number of other kinds of files you might want to create while you're working in Dreamweaver. Again, for now, to keep it simple, we're going to create a blank HTML page, and we're not even going to use one of these layouts. These are pre-designed CSS layouts that we'll use in a later chapter. But for now, we're going to create the simplest, most basic HTML page with no formatting yet. It's a good habit to save your page as soon as you've created it in Dreamweaver. So even though I haven't added any images or text yet, I'm going to go ahead and choose File, Save, or of course you can use Command-S or Control-S on a PC. And because this is going to be the first page of my website, I'm going to name it index.html and click Save. Why do you have to call the first page in your website index.html? Well, it comes back to web servers again. And by the way, if you're used to working on a PC, or if you've ever used some of the Microsoft web design programs, you may think this should be default.html or default.htm. Just to complicate things, all of those can be used as the first page of a website. It ultimately depends on your web hosting service and how the web server is set up. Many servers today are set to use default or index as the main page of a site. Essentially, what that means is they're set up to serve the first page of your website to a browser based on its name. So if I come to the website digitalfamily.com, which is one of my websites, the browser is going to look for a file called index in my main root folder. So the first page of your site needs to be called index for the browser to be able to identify it as the home page of the site. That's just a convention that goes back through the history of the web. Just make sure that the main page of any website you create is called index, unless you know that it should be called default.html. And again, that's a question for your web hosting service. The other thing I like to do right away, so I don't forget, is to change the title of the page. Up here we see Untitled Document. You can simply highlight this text and type anything you want for the title. The title of your web page doesn't actually display within the browser window itself, meaning any images and text are going to go in this part of the page. But at the very top of your browser window, You've probably noticed that website titles appear at the very top right next to the icon for the browser. We'll see that in a moment when we preview this page. By the way, the title is also the text that people bookmark. If they're bookmarking your website, whatever text you enter into the title area is going to be saved in that bookmark. And finally, you may not realize that many search engines put extra priority on the title text. So this is a good place to make sure you use some of the most important keywords on your site if you're trying to make sure you get the best ranking in search engines. For all those reasons, I like to get in the habit of adding a title to a page as soon as I create it. After all, it looks kind of silly to have all those untitled pages out there on the web.